I'm here in San Antonio for NAREIT's REITwise, our 2019 Law, Accounting, and Finance Conference. Joining me today is Mary Hogan Preusse, founder and principal with Sturgis Partners. Mary, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Now, as a former professional investor and now a member of several REIT boards, can you discuss the important ESG-related issues that boards should consider?
Sure, yeah. I spent much of my career being heavily involved in ESG issues because I worked for a socially responsible investor almost before ESG was an acronym. And so it's been a surprise to me that not everybody thinks it's quite as important as I do. I think that for boards, I don't think people need to get completely into the weeds on the various topics. I think be somewhat aware of a company's carbon footprint, where we are in the world and what we're doing about it. For us, I think is super important for social. I think it's a main job of the board to make sure that the organization has a very healthy culture, and that can be defined as a variety of ways, but that is particularly important. And then the third one, governance, is of course part of the essence of board work. Also very important, just to be mindful of best practices, because you can think of many good examples in corporate history of poor governance creating problems at companies, but I can't think of any where great governance caused a problem at a company.
And how active do you feel board members should be regarding a company's ESG activities?
I think they need to be aware of it. I don't think it needs to be something they spend all their time on, but I think that taking it extremely seriously, knowing it's top of mind for many key investors, and also it's just the right thing to do. We used to always say at my old job, it's the right way to invest, but it's just the right thing. It's hard to imagine being against these principles, and so be aware of it and focus on what's important.
And lastly, you are one of the co-chairs of NAREIT's Dividends Through Diversity and Inclusion Steering Committee. What do you think are the main obstacles to achieving greater diversity across management and boards within the REIT industry as well as other industries, and how can those start to be addressed?
I think there's a few things. One is far too broad to cover in the space of our small interview, which is just that I think without universally available childcare, it's hard for people to be able to make choices to rise to the top of organizations. There's a lot of demands on people's time. But otherwise, I honestly think that in some ways it's just really a habit. You have to get used to mentoring people who are different than yourself and encouraging them to rise up in the organization. And when you get up to the board level, I think diversity is critical, because diversity in the boardroom influences who's going to be the next CEO and who's rising up through leadership. It's very common for people to say, I don't know anybody. It's so hard to find somebody good who fits this diversity and inclusive criteria that I'm looking for. And I have a list in my pocket of like 10 people at all times, just in case someone asks me, because trust me, they're out there. So keep looking.
Great. Mary, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
For more information on this and other real estate news and analysis, be sure to visit NAREIT's website, REIT.com.